I think that the half speed was foisted on us by JVC back at the time that they were doing CD4 quad, which required half speed mastering to get, you know, the very high frequency subcarrier on the disc. It's an FM multiplexed process. And when that started to go away, they were left with a room to cut half speed and nothing to cut in it. And so good old Stan Ricker basically started selling people on, hey, cut at half speed because it takes twice as long and it's twice as good. And there's real limitations to half speed that aren't there at full speed. It's just the opposite, in my feeling, to what they would like you to believe. The problem is there's problems at both ends of the spectrum. At the low end, you're losing a half an octave or an octave of information because you're forcing everything to go twice as far down in frequency, because 20 hertz is now 10 hertz, you know, to cut it on the record. On the top end, there's certain limitations to vinyl in the playback, where you have to do corrective measures to the music to make it play back cleanly on you know, record players at home. And there's no provision for doing that at half speed unless you do it digitally. So if you want to be cutting from analog, you cannot get rid of things like vocal sibilance and that sort of thing that drive me nuts on vinyl. You know, I don't like the sound of splattering S's, and I hear that on so much of the half speed mastered stuff because I can't correct it cutting half speed. The idea is that you're turning the lathe that's cutting the record at half speed, so 16 2/3 for 33 LP, and you're running the tape, if it's an analog tape, at half speed. So if it's a 30 IPS tape, you're running at 15, or 15 IPS tape, you're running at 7.5 inches per second. So everything's cut in half. The other thing is, you know, they're talking about, well, because it's done, it takes twice as long to do, there's more care involved. I don't quite get that analogy, but the other thing that's wrong with it is the lacquer is an elastic material, and it's like cutting through, you know, a butter with a hot knife, you know, that idea. And so if you cut the speed that it's cutting at in half, the elastic properties of the vinyl actually are working against you, not for you. So you're kind of like mushing the stuff back and forth out of the way instead of cutting through it cleanly. And so there's some real issues with that.